Jason Chaffetz has joined us on the set here. Jason, what's your take on all of this? Behind closed doors, not under oath. Your thoughts?
Not under oath is actually unusual. To
yes.
actually have the formality of coming
maybe
in
under the advice of his attorney.
I can understand where maybe staff would go over and meet with Jared Kushner at the White House. That would be an informal way to do it. But I think you have senators who personally want to ask some questions. I give a lot of credit to the Trump administration for being open and transparent. They're actually releasing emails. The Clinton administration was deleting emails.
right.
Clinton organization, I should say. And so he doesn't have to do this. He could claim some sort of executive privilege, plead the Fifth. He could do a lot of things.
So you're applauding him for taking this
step. I think he is. I think he's trying to be open. And if you read the 11 pages,
yes, I did.
He's pretty much saying, I mean, at one point he had somebody telling his assistant, will you please call me so you can get me out of this meeting? There's nothing going on here.
Which was hilarious, really.
Yeah. It's true. We've all been there. Yeah.
All right, Jason, thank you. Next one, Congressman, while you're here, and thanks for jumping in on that. Time running out, as we know, for Congress to get something done on health care reform. You just got out of Congress just in time. Let me just say that, Jason. I know you've been very outspoken with your frustration on what's going on. Now we hear that there could be a bill to just repeal or one to repeal and replace. We don't know. I find that astonishing.
It is astonishing. The vote that will happen first this week, and I believe every Republican should vote for it. I don't think there's any excuse. It's just a vote as to whether or not to have the debate. Now, I don't know how you say no to that. You're supposed to be in the most deliberative body on the face of the planet. We campaigned on it. He owned the House, the Senate, the presidency on it. That's the vote that comes up first. Do we actually have the debate? And I think that's got to pass.
But they failed to do that up to this point.
I don't understand it. When leadership came to us back in November or December, they told us, hey, we're going to front load the first part of January because we got to have this bill on the president's desk when he gets sworn into office on January 20th. That's how far behind it is.
We've had President Trump tweeting that, hey, not only do I battle Democrats and their obstructionist policy, but I'm also having to battle some Republicans who are not on my side. True?
Well, I do. I mean, we can't even decide whether or not we're going to debate this bill at this point. I mean, and there's so many different versions out there. I do hope they bring up the House bill. I also think that the big news in the morning is actually the president tweeting out that called him a beleaguered attorney general. That's now the second time he's calling out the attorney general. It's not a good sign when the president is calling an attorney general's names and tweeting at him as opposed to picking up the phone and just talking to him.
I want to get your thoughts on this. Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer writing about rebranding the Democrats in an opinion piece from the Sunday New York Times. Quote, far too long, government has gone along tilting the economic playing field in favor of the wealthy and powerful while putting new burdens on the backs of hard-working Americans. The Democrats will show the country that we're the party on the side of working people. That sounds like Donald Trump's campaign speech.
It does. It's the reason that, look, the Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and they did put more burdens and regulations and Obamacare and all these things that hurt middle America. That's why the President Donald Trump, won 30 out of the 50 states. And so it is the opportunity for the Republicans if they just produce. You know, it's like what Al Davis of the Oakland Raiders used to say, you know, just win, baby. Just put something up on the board, and I think all will be good for the Republicans.
You must still have contact with your friends in Congress. Do they have exactly the same feelings that there's these few that just won't get on board? How frustrated are they?
I think it's frustrating that here we are turning the corner to the end of July, and nobody can sit there and tell you this is exactly what we should do with health care. It's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. But why wasn't this determined at the end of last year? Why wasn't the bill on the president's desk on January 20th, as leadership told us it was going to be there?
One of the problems, I think, and we've talked about this already this morning, is the very muddled message that's been coming out of this White House. The lack of being able to give a clear message, getting everyone heading in the same direction. We now have Anthony Scaramucci as Communications Director. Do you think that's a good appointment, and can he get this administration on track, heading in the right direction?
I do. I like to say that Anthony Scaramucci actually speaks native Trump, and it's good for the relationship with the president, but also being able to go out there day in and day out and explain it to the American people. I think it's a great pick.
He said one of the first things is he's got to try and stop the leaks.
Yes.
Can he do that?
Look,
because it's notoriously hard to do.
The one thing that we know where there is the law being broken are these types of leaks, and it puts our intelligence apparatus in great peril. I mean, people's lives are in danger. When you start releasing this kind of information, when you let the Russians know that we're able to intercept a certain communication, then guess what? They're going to change direction. That puts American people's lives in danger. So it's a very serious thing, and I think he's taking it very seriously. I think the president is rightly very concerned about this, and there are some people that probably should have some handcuffs on. You can't just take classified information and release it because you want to.
You shouldn't. Very quickly, tax reform, very important for our viewers, for me, Stu, everybody, EMAC. Realistically, when can we think about getting, we can't even get past health care, but tax reform, can it be done? We've been told maybe by the fall.
It has to, and these are the two big objectives, health care and tax reform. And you hear Paul Ryan was out again talking about tax reform. I actually think it's easier to sell tax reform than it is health care. Because you
should have done it first?
Well, no, I think you take the tough one first. Okay. You do health care first. But I think by the end of the year, they have to have that tax reform in place. I really do.
I hope you're right. Jason Chaffetz, great stuff. Thanks for being here.